All right, and we are live. So welcome back to Dapp University. So we got a lot to talk about in today's stream. First and foremost, I'm sure everybody's freaking out watching the crypto prices this morning as they're starting work or whatever time of day it is for you, wherever you're watching this in the world. So we're going to talk about that, talk about whether crypto is in a bear market. All right, this is some of the most fearful I have seen the crypto space on social media in the past, 4 years. So I want to talk about that. And actually look at try to analyze it and reason through it rather than just rely strictly on how we feel about things right now. We're going to look at a lot of the news updates that have happened in the space since yesterday, or I guess Friday. Friday was the last stream we did on this channel. Answer some of your questions and a lot more. So if you're new around here, excuse me. Hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to master blockchain step-by-step start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into this. Let me just pull up my chart on the screen here. All right, so like I was saying before, this is some of the most fearful and bearish that I've seen in my entire timeline in quite a long time. And I think for good reason, right? Like, we're looking at these crypto prices and things are looking pretty rough out there. Bitcoin's back at $40,000. Ether's back at $3,000. Okay. The downtrend has looked absolutely brutal with really no relief. We haven't had any significant bounces since the price started trending downwards, in the past 90 days or so. It's just been this kind of slow bleed without any relief. And so we got a lot of people out there that's like, hey, crypto is like completely topped. We're going to go into some sort of brutal bear market, and then we should expect things to go just lower and lower and lower from here. Okay. So let me just kind of break that down and look at this critically rather than just relying too much on, emotions, because one thing that's really important when you're in the middle of these, harsh corrections is that you keep a level head, okay? And I know that's easier said than done. Trust me, I've been a part of this for a really long time. I was here during the 2017 top, the 2018 bear market that ensued. I started, doing my YouTube channel about that time, and trust me, I know what it feels like to watch something drop by 94% and go through this just insane, emotional battle. And you kind of have to go through that a couple times before you can get your sea legs and, learn how to cope. So part of the ability to cope with it is just experience. But one thing I want to help you all do is kind of try to keep a level head and stay calm and look at some other factors. So what we're seeing right now is a very different market from what I saw back in 2017, 2018. Okay. Let's just take a kind of look at that here. So back then, we saw this bear market, but we saw significant, first of all, it was a parabolic blow off top. We have not had that, right? We have been kind of in this, you could call this parabolic, right? But it's kind of a double scenario, all right, which is very different from back then. I'm not saying history is going to perfectly repeat itself. That's not what I'm saying either. But what you can see after that is that you have these bounces, okay? And these bounces all the way down, this slow bleed and a final capitulation candle here down into this just brutal, low, dry, desolate place, okay? And that all happened in about like 11 months, all right, maybe 11, 12 months. So what we're seeing now over the 11-month, 12-month time range is Bitcoin back to about the same price level it was 11, 12 months ago, okay? So right here, we got something totally different, all right? So what we've seen over the past year or so is really more or less Bitcoin kind of in a range of like 60,000 to like, about $30,000, okay? And so what I'm seeing right here is we could be just back at the bottom part of that range, okay? That's one possibility to consider. Now, I'll say full disclosure here, nothing I'm saying in this video is not any financial advice for you. Also forgot to say this, there's scammers in the comment section, just ignore them, right? Never going to try to ask you for money on YouTube, like it says an investment or something like that. But anyways, where I was going with that is nobody knows what's going to happen for sure in the short term, but trying to look at this in the big term of what just have some other possibilities to consider rather than just relying completely on emotions of the herd, because ultimately that's what makes the most mistakes in markets are the emotions and the irrationality of the herd in the first place, okay? So That's the first thing I'll say. What we're seeing right now is not the same, definitely not the same market structure as 2018. So I would consider this, to have a different outcome entirely from 2017, 2018. Okay. So let's just go to entertain the option that maybe we do go into some sort of bear market. All right. Maybe you could say that what we're in right now actually is a bear market. I mean, it is technically, but is it the same like brutal, prolonged bear market that we saw in 2018? Well, I think part of the 2017, 2018 cycle and the grueling nature of it is how fast the Bitcoin price went up and how that had a pretty significant influence on what happened during the bear market as well. So, we saw this look like a hockey stick and then absolutely just get decimated after, okay? So you see something else a little bit like a hockey stick, not as sharp of one, but then it corrects, and then you see the same price level reached again. And so let's say we do enter some sort of bear market. Maybe it's something that's much shorter and not an 85% drop in Bitcoin price. So you could argue that happened here, and this was like a 3-month bear market. So what if we were seeing another 3-month kind of bear market in this accumulation range? This was back in November. Let's just say it's the beginning of November, just for easy math. So November, December, January, we might well be out of the woods with this thing, assuming that scenario plays out by the end of this month, and start, trending back upward relatively soon on the grand scheme of things. I know it's kind of the still early January. You could start calling it mid-January after we cross the 10th, because now we're in the middle third of the month. But that's one thing to consider. All right. So other thing is the macro environment. Okay, we've been talking about this as we've been looking at the prices come down, which is, I think some of the price action we're seeing right now in the crypto space definitely has to do with people's perception of where the technology is headed. I think some people I think we did see a quick excitement and a little bit of stalled out interest in that excitement, especially from retail investors. And what we're seeing right now, in addition to that, is in the macro sense of, what's going on with the Fed. So we talked about that. Central Bank of the United States coming out saying that they are planning on tightening up their monetary policy, and what that has to do, or basically what that does to investors, how they perceive the future to be. They allocate resources accordingly. And so some people take risk off the table. We could see that happen in crypto. We're also seeing that happen in other financial markets. Okay. So the price action we're seeing in crypto right now is highly correlated to what's happening in the stock market. Okay. If you look at any of the major stock indices, S&P 500, the price action there is highly correlated to what's happening in crypto as well. Okay. So, I would use these as, a potential data point, to try to see, hey, when could we start to see a reversal in crypto? If this is as big of a factor as we're saying it is, then we would likely start to see some of those trend reversals correlate as well. All right, so just another data point to think. So if this macro is a factor, and like S&P, Dow, all these other major stock indices start to turn green and rip, and crypto's still headed the opposite direction, well, maybe that's a time to start thinking of a different scenario. Okay. So, when we're talking about the macro things, we talked about price levels of, $40,000 per Bitcoin, $38,000 per $38,000 to $40,000 in Bitcoin would be impossible price levels we could hit as support in this dump. And we're still like close to that, all right? We haven't broken below that. It's not like we're at $35,000 per Bitcoin or a $30,000 Bitcoin or anything like that, okay? I mean, Bitcoin is still only dropped at its worst wick down here by about 40%, which is bad, but it's not like it's not like insane. It's not like 80% drop, okay? So, the last thing I'll say about this is that, if this is some sort of bear market that's worse than what we're thinking is temporary correction, maybe it's prolonged. Again, I don't think it's going to be as bad as what we saw in 2018. If you were here, if you heard the horror stories about it, okay? And also, I don't think by any stretch of the imagination that crypto is anywhere close to dead. I mean, I see some people talking about that. That's just not even close to true. I think crypto has so much promise for the future. If anything, crypto has reached maybe some technical limitations that, this happens with technology all the time. People have inflated expectations for what's possible in the short term, but they drastically underestimate what's possible in the long term. Okay, so they get in here and they think, oh, crypto is going to eat the world in a matter of months, and that doesn't happen. And then they peace out, but they fail to see what can actually happen over a 5-year period or a 10-year period, which is probably the time scale that you should honestly be thinking about, crypto really, really, really permeating our day-to-day lives. Okay. And so, if you look at what's happening right now and you think that, well, this is all just game over, you really have to zoom out and think on these larger time scales. Now, I know that's not always the most comforting thing when you're talking about money in the short term, especially if you're overexposed in the markets. But if you're thinking about some long-term time horizon, which is what I always personally do, which I think is the best thing for most people to do, I don't think crypto's going anywhere by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, I wouldn't be continuing to do what I do if I thought that. Okay, so there will be booms and busts along the way. Nobody knows for sure how long this bust is going to last, but I don't think it's going to be the last boom we see. That's for sure. And it's very possible that we could see a reversal relatively soon on the grand scheme of things. I mean, I don't know for sure. Like I said, you always have to entertain new possibilities. Everybody can be wrong. But if history is any indication, the social sentiment is so bad that, this could mean opportunity. So we'll see. Somebody says crypto isn't an investment, it's a lottery ticket at best. Well, it's one way of looking at it. You can also start to think of a lot of things that you invest in the same way. If you really actually peek behind the curtains, nobody ever knows for sure what's going to happen. Somebody says the crypto ecosystem is now too big to fail. I don't think that's not entirely true, but that's getting closer to the truth. Okay, so let's look at a couple other things. So, at the end of the day, too, this is the tech opportunity for crypto, regardless of what's happening, the prices is definitely not going anywhere. No one is slowing down their efforts to build out, the metaverse, to build out Web 3.0, any of that type of stuff. And my long-term thesis on this channel is as you create that technology and it has cryptocurrency integrated into it, that, you're going to generate demand for that technology and the value is going to accrue to the cryptocurrencies themselves. That hasn't changed. I mean, what's happening with the market in the short term might not reflect that, right? But, we've seen Metaverse trending again on Twitter. I saw it the other day and popped some notes on here. Saying huge, articles about this. Lots of critiques of the metaverse for sure. We see the things that make promise of a metaverse intriguing for the most part already exist in online games. Much of what remains of that promise is unappealing, impossible, or greedy. Okay. So I think this is actually related to that disillusionment that I was talking about a minute ago. People have overinflated expectations of what's possible with the technology, or they think that the current version of that technology doesn't live up to the hype, but they underestimate the long-term potential of it. Okay, it's just like it's not just like, but it's similar to, or lots of other technology when it comes out, like the internet, for example. Early websites look like a toy. It's really hard to see, where that technology can head over the long term, because what you're looking at is a prototype. It's a toy. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles, doesn't have all the unsolved problems fixed with it, and you fail to grasp the long-term potential. Now, that can have a pretty short-term impact on people's how people view the tech in the short term, which can have a pretty big impact on how they feel about crypto prices, okay? But I don't think this is ultimately the best take on where the metaverse is headed. And I do think that there is a lot of BS in the metaverse space, just like the crypto space, just like every other space where people can come in and pretend like they know what they're talking about and try to capitalize off of, the uninitiated, I'll put it that way, naive entrants who don't know any better. And then you can basically have people create projects that fleece retail investors. But that's all over the place. But I do think that we are actually at a time where we're creating things and experimenting, and that there will be use cases that actually end up being sticky and have lasting impact. And here's something else that I saw. This is another take that I just don't think is gonna. So in light of that, in talking about the metaverse, what's not gonna work, what doesn't make any sense. I've seen this Walmart shopping video floating around like crazy, so we can talk about that. So this is basically a video of, a metaverse shopping experience. I haven't done enough due diligence on this video to know if it's even true or if Walmart actually put it out. I think they did. I think it was like a long time ago, like February of last year or something. You can fact check me on it. Go just search for it in Google. Okay, but I don't think there's any reason why why we would do things like this in the metaverse. And I think this is why you start to see these, like, all this skepticism around it, right? Like, what about this actually enhances your experience of shopping? Like, what about this actually is, why would you do it this way versus just ordering online through an app, right? This is slower. Like, part of the benefit of ordering groceries online is you can just like have all this efficiency of, you could have a spreadsheet of everything you buy on a weekly basis where you can save it inside the app and then just like in 2 minutes copy and paste everything into the online ordering form. Or you could just say, order the same thing I ordered last week and just do adjustments. And then, you pay a fee, but you can literally shop for groceries in 5 to 10 minutes. Like, who wants to put on a VR headset and then walk through an entire grocery store and like physically pick things off a shelf? There's no efficiency benefit to that, which is ultimately why people do online grocery shopping in the first place. So this is not my vision of a sticky use case for Metaverse. I don't know that this was ever intended to be that. I think I just see this floating around online. And so, I don't know. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. I mean, it's a party trick, but I don't see how this would be the preferred way of doing things. I mean, think about an Amazon Prime subscription, where you can just think about something and then, oh, I need this, and get on Amazon and buy it, and it's at your house, like maybe even the same day, depending on where you live and what you're buying. A couple clicks of a button, or it's on your phone. Like, that's pretty crazy. That's a huge benefit. This is just kind of like novelty. So now, some people, I see some comments in the chat talking about, a VR headset where you could view, physical items where you needed to experience how they exist in space. Like, let's say you're going furniture shopping or something and you want to see like what does this couch actually look like in person, right? Or how does it look in my own living room with augmented reality? Okay. Now that actually has a benefit, all right, because it's not just the efficiency you're after. There's efficiency because you don't have to go to a store, right? You can just do it from the comfort of your own home. But there actually is a benefit of experiencing those things in real dimensions. Now, the question is, do you need the metaverse to do that? Can you just do it on an e-commerce site with a VR headset or augmented reality glasses or some other device where you can project the image inside your home? Someone said you can do that now with AR apps. Yeah, totally. I mean, some of the stuff I'm talking about, like you can do now. I mean, this Walmart thing, you could do now, right? Not necessarily at for Walmart. I believe this was just a prototype, but there's lots of stuff that is already possible. Somebody says, got a couple impersonators on Twitter, private messaging, trying to scam me. So basically, I'm never going to DM you on a social network. Probably never. Probably never if you're watching this live stream. So, you know, if anybody's trying to get you in a chat room to ask for investment capital or to do a paid promotion on my YouTube channel or something like that, like it's 99.999999999% sure that's not me. If for some reason you're ever talking to me through the DM and I'm asking you for money, ask me to send you a video saying your name. Okay, so one thing to keep in mind for so that you can watch out for coming up soon is we might have NFTs make an appearance at the Super Bowl. Okay, so this is a rumor. We don't know for sure, but Eminem and Snoop Dogg are rumored to incorporate their Bored Apes during the Super Bowl halftime show. So I've followed this floating around. I haven't confirmed whether they're actually booked for the Super Bowl halftime show. Let's just see. Let's just make sure it's not totally fake news. Let's see. Okay, so according to Google, according to Sporting News, it actually is Dr. Dre, Eminem, and Kendrick Lamar. They're going to be joining R&B. They're going to be joining Mary J. Blige. So, according to my quick Google search, that's not fake news. So we'll see if the Bored Apes actually make an appearance. We'll see if the rumors become true. Somebody says my retirement plan is sending videos asking for money. That's totally a joke, by the way. That's just a funny joke in the chat. So this is fraud always in the chat box. You should keep a text saying you don't text anyone personally. Well, I say it repeatedly over and over and over and over again in these videos. So crypto replace the dollar and become their primary currency ever? I don't think so. We'd have to have massive changes, especially in a place like the United States, in order for that to happen. The incentives simply aren't in place to go off of a fiat currency, which is what the dollar is now. And what's way more likely to do something what's way more likely to happen is that we have a central bank digital currency. All right, everybody, that's all I got for today. As always, smash that like button down below. I'll do one last quick check on the markets here. So we're still at $40,000, $3,000. Let's see if we can hold the line here. Come back tomorrow and see. As always, like I was saying, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. There are these videos out so the more people can learn about blockchain. And if you're as fast with this technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty, how you can get started today, you can go to my YouTube homepage. You can find my free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. And if you like those and you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a master's shortcut entirely, I can become a blockchain master step-by-step start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You don't have to be an expert to get started today. I've helped people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. And until next time, thanks for watching Dapp.